Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. And we need to get a live stream in. We got a lot going on in the market. Big sell-off. And I always start with a market update, like I had done in the past, to let people join. Uh, So the Dow Jones, the last update I gave, we were last live stream. Well, we peaked out here. We finished this huge impulse. I'm gonna just label this as like all of 1, 2, and just have this as a massive extended fifth wave, which is kind of unusual because typically the 2 would retrace most of that, and we didn't even get that. That's how bearish that little bounce was. I think earlier I had it as a 1, 2, 1, 2. But I think this would be the right count. Then you had your 3, and now we're in a 4, and maybe a 5. So what happens after 5 waves down? We get a bounce, right? And then that bounce more than likely will fail. And usually it will fail somewhere around the 4 area. So, but it doesn't have to. It could even retrace all the way back up. So we just don't know the future. Of course, we can always erase divergence, but that would be a pretty big divergence that needs to get erased there on this bullish divergence to extend it down in an even more violent move, which is so it's very unlikely you're going to get this. So if you're short, you got to be careful here, because I got 5 down on the Dow. And I got bullish divergence signaling we are probably entering a fifth wave. But I do believe this bounce will fail. This bounce, whatever this bounce is, however significant or meager, it will fail. And then that could set up a much bigger buy-in opportunity for a swing trade, I think, or or a possible low for new highs. But I think right now this is the count that I'll go with on the Dow. The SPY, different. SPY, the bulls here overplayed their hand. You know 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now you have a 3, 4. But you see you have a lot more 4s and 5s to play out. So this will be weak. There's this magic area of 573. I think that could get tagged here. There's this gap. So this may play out, chop, 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 to here, and then a relief rally, and then, oh shit, it's not over yet. That's what I think we'll see in the SPY. So kind of a grind lower with a lot of choppiness as this is the 4s and 5s playing out. The easy money on the downside probably is over for this leg. Then you'll need to reset, and then you can get the wipeout, either a mega crash or you'll get another leg down and then a bottom, more highs. Is what I'm thinking. Again, bullish divergence. Now watch this divergence. If the divergence erases, then it's extending, and then you have another 1, 2. That would bring you down to the 565 target, probably taken out, going to this neckline here right away before anyone realizes what happens. So we got to watch the acceleration higher because you can't rule that out, but I don't think it's likely. The Nasdaq, same thing, hit our sell area and it's dumped in a 3, and again it needs some 4s and 5s here. It is in 5. It did make a lower low, so this 5 could be done at any moment. And again, we get something like this, a bounce, and that bounce should fail more than likely. Then IWM, really interested in the IWM. Our channel, we called literally the top. And we actually had the target to essentially the penny, almost to the penny here. And we've never revisited that level. So what does this tell me? This was my target. So this is a couple things that need to concern you if you're bullish. This target was established at 244 over a year ago by myself. Over a year. Go watch my older videos. We had this target, this unthinkable target in the Russell identified in this while we were trading here. And the reason is we looked at this fractal. We looked at this fractal and we said, see, the fractal that the Russell likes to follow, and the fractal is just a similar pattern based on the personality. See, chop, 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 a pump, and then a crash. So the idea was we'll get some kind of chop, chop, chop in the middle, and then pump and crash. Also, if we were looking at a three-wave move, this was the projected target of that move. And so we were able to kind of forecast this target. If it's a three-wave move, 3, and then you have here 1, 2, 3, and then you have 3 in that leg, you know, and 3 in that leg, 3 in this leg. So very corrective. So we could, if we knew this was corrective, the target would have been here. That's why I put the box there, because I've always thought this was a corrective sequence here that should have finished and just got overextended. But here we are, and we actually reversed violently on the higher time frame. What this tells me is this pivot may be of much more significance as what I had expected, which also may validate this whole view as well, which also validates this view of this leg coming down to 145 in the Russell. So this should happen in 3 waves, just like we had here. If it does, it could also become a flat and go down in 5. So we probably a flat. We'll say it's got to be a 5-wave move down. So the first sign that could happen is the break of this trend line. This trend line right here. So that would be a close about 212, 211, a close. Then I'd like to on the back test of the trend line. There's always usually a back test. Short that with leverage, using whatever method you like, triple bear, whatever your vehicle is to catch this. So that's the idea. Now here, again, there's a lot of still hope alive that it could just extend. And then that kind of negates this bearish setup, as then you'll have an impulse off this low, which won't be in 3, and it won't subdivide. And so therefore, then you could probably say that this is actually a low. You'll get a 5th wave and then get a big pullback, but this low will hold as you get a 1, 2. But by failing here is very significant from a corrective, from a bearish standpoint, and it hit the target that you would have expected if that view was correct, and it did, and it hasn't looked back. So very important moment in the Russell. The VIX is again, guys, I told you how easy the long VIX trade was here. It was probably the most. It was like free money, and again, I gave you guys all this on my live streams, and look, it went vertical. Is it done? I don't think the VIX is done yet. The VIX, again, from a pattern standpoint, we've been outside this wedge, and we launched. That was the first clue, because every time we break the wedge, we launch, right? Wedge, we launch. Wedge, we launch. Little launch. So you get the idea. So we knew with the yen strength on this wedge we launched, but the problem is we're still trading outside the wedge. So this sequence really isn't over yet, and you have a bigger wedge, and so if you fall back within it, you would have come out here anyway. So the thing is the VIX could easily come back up to these $50-$60 areas. So you gotta be careful. Volatility could be back for a while, and we could build. So again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, pushing a 5, we should exceed this peak with divergence, and then then we could probably have a tradable bottom to buy for those brave enough to buy the dip for the counter trend, which I think will fail and get another swing higher. The Uvix played out according to plan, right? Again, my last update, I said what to expect: A, B, C, WXY, right? I mean, I gave you guys this. Now, what am I saying here? That the move may not have that much more left to go. It's going to run into resistance here at the 650 level. Okay, that will be allow the VIX to finish its fifth wave. And then I think you're going to get a pullback. Okay, now the pullback, I don't know how this pullback's going to look. It could come down and break these lows. It could very well do that, but that would probably be new market highs. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we got to keep an open mind that B will continue to gyrate around for a while. But again, the Uvix is running out of room, and then it will hit escape velocity. Okay, so you have this you have this inverse head and shoulders reversal, right? Left shoulder, here's your head. This will form a head, and then we'll pull back. But what happens here is anyone's guess. If we're going to have a catastrophe in the Uvix, and which would be a market melt up for another peak in the market, or we're not, and B is going to extend out, or is counts off and B was actually done here, and this C is done, and the cycle is over, and we're in a new uptrend. So my data doesn't support that we're in a new uptrend yet, but it could potentially here. So I don't like shorting the VIX, but I would say that this is going to find resistance here. It should pull back, and then the market's going to have a big situation on its hands, because the Uvix, if it breaks out of this pattern, this wedge that I've got here, if you just look at this fractal, look at this wedge, and look at the move it generated just by breaking out of this wedge. This wedge is 1/4 of the size of the wedge I just showed you. It's the same look, the same fractal. I would expect the same kind of look and feel. This wedge, it will break out. I would think the Uvix would hit 24, 28. And there's even an unthinkable target, because if you look here, this spike took out the peak of the wedge. Well, where's the peak of this wedge? 52, 56. That gets us to 80, 84, Uvix 92. Unthinkable targets. I know people can't, your mind can't process that kind of move, but I'm just telling you, it's possible. The technical analysis says it's possible if we can get out and get escape velocity on the Uvix. Because again, it's just so oversold, so short. VIX is so short. Aladdin uses the VIX to manipulate the market higher. And this would be Aladdin being blown up. Aladdin would be blown up. We'll find out who it is, because they'll need to be bailed out by the government. Market makers will go bankrupt. And we'll find out who's been manipulating this market for the last 15 years, because somebody has, through the VIX. But the VIX is about to... it can't go. It's the juice is out of the orange on the VIX. They just can't get it any lower. It's it. There's just no more juice left in this orange, and it's out. It's in the VIX in some ways has already hit escape velocity, but people don't realize it yet. But the Uvix hasn't. The Uvix hasn't. So we got to understand that that's the dynamic. So the dynamic in the market right now is we're going to come down, more than likely bounce, and then a big decision in the market will set the stage for what degree correction we're in. Are we going to be in a bear market, a historic crash, a 1929 style, the end of the grand super cycle, like some people think, where you bounce and then it's essentially the Great Depression, three 20% down days in a row, circuit breakers all the way to God knows where, or you get a much smaller pullback, and then you can kind of rally out a new highs and extend wave 5, which is kind of what the Uvix is kind of saying may happen. So you got to understand the bigger picture. The cycle, the grand super cycle, may not be quite yet ready to end. Wave 5 of the grand super cycle may extend, and this could be just a correction in that extension. We also mentioned that the 5 waves up on the big picture on the SPY here is just 5 waves from the COVID lows. So even if we don't extend the 5 waves from this leg, we could still essentially crash and revisit the COVID lows and still be within wave 5 of the grand super cycle. You see what I'm saying? So it would feel like a crash. It will look like a crash, but it actually won't be. If this is something like that, the 360 SPY, then we would say, oh my God, it's 1929 all over again. But really, it could be just 1, 2, and then we go 3, 4, 5. Wave 5 extends, and then the catastrophe that we read about going back to the 2009 lows happens, and we come all the way back down. The real bubble pops. So those are some possibilities, but we just don't know where we're heading, where it goes. But anytime the market sells off, and with this bubble, you have to understand there's so much danger because we're living on the edge of a cliff. Here's our stick chart on the Dow. And there's my oh shit moment. And hey, coincidentally, that's about where we're going to bounce, I think, around at 41,000. And we should bounce around this trend line. But like I said, if this trend line breaks, we should go back to this trend line at 36.3. But that would break the parabola. And then that should just kind of just kind of bleed down, deflate. So that's why there's no margin for error. There's no more room for error. There's no more. They're out of room. It's out of room. Now, if we break this 41, we hit 36 here, or 30, 35, somewhere around this area. Now, can the parabola extend and keep going? Sure, it could do that. So some people would say that this is the line in the sand, 35. I would say still 41, given the vertical nature of the move and the amount of leverage longs in the system. And where the VIX is and the Uvix and all those things I told you, and where the yen hasn't even spiked because people are still complacent. Guys, if people really had fear, the yen would be strengthened, and it isn't, because people are actually still buying the dip, even though it's sold off, but no one's afraid. The VIX spiked, but this ain't nothing. 24 ain't nothing. 24 is nothing. That's normal. That's a normal VIX to me. So we're not even in the first inning of the sell-off. Like, not even in the first inning. That may happen when this area starts to get pierced. Just try to keep you in mind as the futures don't look too good tonight. So which we expect, because like I said, we're in wave 5 of this overall move. But like I mentioned, if we start accelerating lower, then it will just keep going down. It will just keep going down, and this could become a 1-2. And then the next target would be probably, like I said, like 560s. This area would be the next area of extension in wave 3. Wave 3 would extend. All right. So that's that for the market update, and I'll go into your questions as I don't want to stay on too late. I'm sure people are going to ask me about all these other symbols tonight, and I'll cover them for you. All right, I think, I've said everything I needed to say on the market. All right, let's start with the top. Hive. All right, Hive. So Hive is crypto, I think, if I remember right. So crypto, you have to understand where crypto is in the bigger picture before we go into it. So if you just take a look at Bitcoin real quick, it's a real, everyone's biting their nails with Bitcoin. But again, we called the fifth wave, right? If you listened to my live stream and watched it, I said we're at 5 up. So we're going to get a pullback down to 84,000. This is probably what it's going to look like, guys, just like I have it here. we probably are going to bounce around 93.5, 92,000. That bounce more than likely will fail and hit this general area I'm circling. So Hive in anything in crypto should kind of follow the same idea. Now, if we get a straight down crash correction and we drop to this 84,000, that will change things. So this is the target area is 84,000. 80, but you cannot go below this peak at 74,000 where you have a false breakout, which would create panic selling, waterfall selling, which would then signify the count. This count is not right. That this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there is another count, an alternative count in Bitcoin. I've talked about it where it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means this would pull back all the way back down to 44,000. If that's the case, the first A wave should come back to about 72, bounce around, fail, and come down into this area, or break under it, try to be saved, and then fail, something like that. So who's right? We don't know who's right. But I look at a lot of things, and I just don't think that's going to happen. Do I think we're going to get more downside? Probably, most likely, yes. In the most conservative view is this is the count. So now let's go to Hive, and as I answer your crypto questions, I'll be able to kind of use that. So Hive, we had the buy here. You had this 3-wave move in 1, a 3-wave in 2. So now you have a 3-wave, and now you have a 3-wave. So you want to see wave 3, but you really don't have any guarantee. You could still be in wave 2 for all we know. So we're going to have to look at some clues and see if there's anything that may tell us where we are, or is it mislabeled. So here, no divergence, perfect 3-wave move. No divergence, 3-wave move. So, you can't rule out you're still in wave 2, and it's going to take another swing lower. And I think with Bitcoin's forecast, I want to go ahead and say that's what's going to happen. But this is a tough situation to be in. Really, as long as you're above 137, the bull case is valid, is not invalidated. And any stock, any instrument could always double correct. It could always double correct lower. This could double bottom is kind of the idea. You have 3, 3, 3. It could go straight down. May bounce big and fail like we saw here. But with the 3-wave up nature of this move, again, I'm just kind of looking at it. I would be concerned you're not going to get another leg lower with this low holding. But I would say even if this low breaks, though, let's just say it breaks, then this would change to something a little different. It would change to an A, a B, and then a big rip in C. Like that. It would do something like that. And then fail around $9, and then that will probably be that'll probably be the last we hear of this company. Because this would be essentially go to 0, but you'll get this like flat where you'll destroy the bulls and the bears, right? You destroy the bulls, and now we'll destroy the bears, and then let's not trade it anymore. That's where I think that's another forecast possibility if this low breaks. So we don't know. I don't see any trade setup. I don't see anything other than sidelines. Sidelines on Hive. All right, Nirvana, NTR and MOS. Well, we have some really bad breakdowns in those charts, and that signifies something really bad could be happening beneath the market that investors need to pay attention to, and these are the signs. These are like the warning signs that may be telling us, forecasting, like, you know, that we've got real big problems on our hands. We have big problems on our hands that people just don't understand yet. Okay, so real quick. So we had this buy area here, okay, and it failed, right? It obviously failed. It broke the pivot. Is that a connector? Well, I don't know. Let's take a look. If we look at this, you see this whole move, bullish divergence, and a connector, one more low, and then we broke it again. If we look, this connector is probably going to play out. This whole move right here from this low is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, for this chart, and again, I was thinking about something else actually. I had this symbol mixed up with something else, but based on this chart, the way I would label this now is just something a little different. Damn, there's probably no good way of labeling it other than there's five down here with a connector. So you would have to label it now A, B, C. 5 waves down, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now see, that doesn't work, even though you have the bullish divergence here. So we'll have to go back again, just kind of going back and forth on this. W, X, Y, and then A, B, C, or just put the W here. Or yeah, what we'll do is we'll say that this was a W, this was an X, 1, 2, 3, this was a Y. There's really no other way to label this. And we're going to have another leg lower. And this is an A. And a C. But this leg needs to take out all these peaks, erase divergence. And when it does that, then perhaps you have a low, but there's no way to target it. There's no good way to target the low, but I think this count is now something like this. And now you have a C leg that needs to play out. And it's just getting started, really, if you think about it. And just you're about to go into 3 of 3, right? It makes sense because look at all the pivots you broke. All the people are stopping out now. There'll be people that will hope and open their stop losses, and then eventually they'll give up. This is just some kind of big descendant triangle that just started to fail. Bearish continuation. Low 30s is possible. MSOS. Again, a lot of charts are broken. A lot of bull setups lost because the higher cycles took over the market. For the most part, we trade like on the 4-hour cycle. The weekly and even monthly cycles are exploded into life on the bearish side in the last couple of days, and it's broken a lot of charts. So you have to go back to the monthly and really look at it and notice, wow. Then what that means is the market we could be entering a really really tough period. So MOS is still at 5. No, I would say no. There's really not enough information. There's not enough information. That could be the low still though at 340. Right? Maybe in this bear market, everyone just needs to get, smoke weed, get stoned, because they're all unemployed and they're stressed out. So weed's going to go through the roof, right? Maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Who knows why it would pump in a bear market? But anyway, I guess we'll go with this count for now until this low breaks. If it breaks, then you've got a 1, 2, and wave 5 will extend lower. And I would say then the bull setup's lost again. All right. Next question. Joe, a bunch of super chats. Okay, here AAOI. Alrighty. All right. So more than likely that's the fifth wave right there. That's your third. So we're probably in this fourth wave that needs to finish this cycle. Looks like to me you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here down. Yeah, so maybe something like this, like again, want to see the erasure divergence. See that 4-hour? This 4-hour needs to come down. Boom. That 4-hour cycle needs to break. So I think you've got some more downside coming here. But you're in this connector X. Although the X could be finished here. And then A, B, C. And then you're just pushing down in Y. Down to probably 26, somewhere down there. And you know, chart should give you one more high. Now, that's an impulse. There's always a chance, right? I always say this, that we don't get the 4, that we get another 1, 2. And if that's the case, it goes deeper and takes more time. So is it a 1, 2, 1, 2? Or is it what I had before? I don't know. We don't know. So we just trade the 4. The 4 should find support right around here. If it's any deeper than that, then you have to start thinking it was another 1. A 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, we want to buy 1, 2, 1, 2 setups. Those are the ideal setups. So we want to buy that, but you would have to be patient and kind of wait for the right level. Here, the right level for wave 4 would be around the 4 here, 25.83. So that's where it should end. That's where wave 4 should end. But like I said, you got to manage your risk, because it could easily be a 1, 2, 1, 2. But that's where we're going. That's where it should go. All right, Govx is another one here. It was green today. Let's see how that one's doing. Again, we saw this big pump in 3, and then make sure I got your symbol right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like a 5-wave move down. It looks like 5 waves of some kind down. And then a big connector. Yeah, so somewhere there is probably where the 3, and then you have a big connector. Right? WX, and now you need probably a little more downside here. 1, 2, 3. Now it could come up in X again a little bit more, but what we're looking for ultimately is something like this. That's what we're looking for. That's the only pattern that is really tradable, which means you can break this low with this pattern. You want to see divergence erased. All that erased. Bam. And then it could be the end. So be careful trading it on the long side. This will break and cause some panic, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, I said, if that low breaks, and that could take you to, you see, it's not even a way to forecast. So I think you're just To me, I don't like to trade this. I don't like to trade it because of the way it came down here. It doesn't look, and it's not really impulsive off this low. It's three waves. All right, QSI. Haven't talked about that one in a long time. It was a stock Kathy Wood had been pumping once in a while. So our chart did play out, I think, on this, or it's starting to. Okay, so I had this chart. This is an old chart. I gave this setup and I gave this target, and we're slowly getting there, right? We're kind of getting there. So I still will stick with this target for now. 1, 2, 1, 2. See how we erase divergence? That's not good. That's not good. So that's a three-wave move. So unfortunately, you know, there's too many possibilities. I can't label it other than to tell you that as long as you're above 62 cents, this is still in play. You break that, then it's pretty much game over for this company, and it'll be game over. All right, GME is I mentioned that it was in a fifth wave, but there's never a guarantee that the fifth wave will pump. It usually does, but it doesn't have to. And then there'll be a big pullback. So did we? So it looks like that's our fifth wave right there. Let's see. How did it? We didn't really break that high though. We got close, right? I wonder in after hours if we broke it. No, didn't break it even after hours. So I would say we're still trading in 5. And yeah, I mean it could be a 1 2 1 2 1 2. I mean it could be this. Now if this is the count, guys, yes, it's gonna go vertical. Is Warren Kitty gonna tweet tomorrow? Is that what this chart is gonna say? I mean, I don't know, but that you have to go with this count until we break 27. You just keep let the chart trust the chart, right? We trust the chart. So there's the chart. A lot of people probably already given up on it, but I don't think you want to give up on it quite yet. The uptrend looks intact still. All right, so good luck on that. I mean, could it happen? It really surprised people, I'm sure, in the market if this happened. I don't know why it would, but it's possible. Now, if we let's say what happens if it doesn't do that, it just drops. Well, then we're still in wave 4, and we had this like A, B, C. It'll be a flat, and I have this target here. I'd be looking for this area in 4, or possibly another 1, 2. We have to go back to the higher count and look, but I like to buy it here. This is where I like to buy it if it pulls back. If not, aggressive, buy it. Put your stop loss at 27 and see what happens. See if the casino will pay out for you, and a big pump, because this is a 1 2 1 2. It's a triple setup. Okay. And then yeah, I'm glad the Qubits worked out. That was a winner for us. That was a winner, and you can watch my video on how I got to that like interpretation. And again, people think that what I do is like silly and stuff, but it obviously worked. And then even the chart I put on the Dow 24 hours before the Dow tanked 1,000 points said the chart looked like that was about to happen. That chart, they said if you bought same 0-day puts and put $10,000 in 2 or 3 hours, you would have had $2.2 million. That chart was worth $2 million to somebody if they would have played a 0-day option on it. If I gave you that chart and you said, shit, if we're about to go into a 3 on that, well, yeah, shit, I'll put $10,000 in the casino, see what happens today, you would have had $2 million in 3 hours. That's what happened to some people yesterday. So that's why these charts, you can't laugh at them. I mean, some of them work, some of them don't work, but some of them do. And when they do, man, they can pay out if you know how to bet right, and you're smart. But this is another one. Will it pay out? Will this pay out tomorrow? I don't know. It could. It could. Lottery ticket could pay out tomorrow in Gamestop. It's right in front of your face right now. I think you could buy this after hours, right, on Robinhood, right? I think they trade. So there you go, right now. There it is. So good luck with that. Let's go to the next super chat. Toronto Exchange. All right. AAV on the Toronto Exchange. All right. So got 3 waves down. Impulse. Impulse. And then you have 3 waves. It looks like it wants to take another swing lower. You see that monthly cycle, it broke lower, right? You see how it broke down. So it's in a bear market. It's in a bear market until this trend line breaks. You see that trend line? As long as you're on the other side, the left side of this trend line, you're in a bear market in this stock, and it's going to correct. But I would assume it's going to respect this low. So for me, it's bullish long term, but in the short term, I think you're going to have to endure a lot of pain coming. My guess is you're going to come down to this area. It's going to do some kind of correction here, down to 621, 493. This area. You could try to go long in this area. We'll see where we end up, and looks like 26. So it's going to be under pressure for a while. And more than likely, if it's energy, it's going to trade down with oil. Oil will bottom, energy will bottom, and energy will be in a secular bull market. When we get that low in oil, that will be probably your last chance to really go long energy sector before the market leaves you behind. And that's why that's what I see taking shape here. But for now, it's saying painful. It's going to be painful in energy. And we already see that playing out. People still are in disbelief. I'm seeing posts about ExxonMobil and all this shit. I'm like, it's going to go even lower, guys. I mean, that's what I think. Even lower. But we knew to stay away from energy like 6 months ago. All right, 3 down. Impulse. I mean, this looks like a wave. This is like a classic 4-wave triangle, which is typical in wave 4s, right? I mean, you don't have to do a lot of advanced, chart analysis here to tell you that that's probably your count. And you're probably in this 5th wave right now, and you may make one more high, and that's it. And then you'll have a super I call it crash, I guess, come back down to 38 in a multi-year bear market. And then you hit the secular bull in energy. The chart shows it. This peak higher than that peak. There's your wave 3. Look at all that bearish divergence. Once you make a higher high with all that bearish divergence, the chart's toast. I mean, it may come back up to here, bearish and then the monthly's gonna have to come all the way back down, probably taking out these lows eventually. The biggest warning sign you have is this pattern. Is this a 4-wave profit-taking consolidation, which gives you maybe one more high like this, but then the move essentially is over. Okay. Thanks again. ALB. Let's go to ALB. Albemarle. So Albemarle, we called the low. I think this was our last update on this, right? I think you may have asked me for that. We were worried about this wave 2. We got it. This is right where we want it to bounce, right where it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we put the 5 there. We put the 1 there. So let's look at that shorter cycle here and see. Looks like an ABC. 1, 2. May bounce and fail one more time, but it's close to the low. should bottom at any moment in this second wave. Now you do have this gap, like I said, that maybe it can still bounce and go take another one more low, but it's pretty much where it needs to be. Now, what happens if we break down and break this low, which can happen? Then we have a connector here in some kind of ABC, a connector. But this would be very bad for this company because this connector corrected the whole move. The whole down cycle was corrected with just this like meager bounce. That would signify this company is gonna more than likely would come back down to the $37, $20 area. It could even do a full round trip. It would be horrible. And that would be like, those are the things we want to look for to tell you if the grand super cycle's over. Because that's the shit that's going to start happening. These kind of pivots. Like, this is a pretty significant pivot for this company. Right? And it's a big market cap company, 10 billion. So it's in a lot of ETFs, I'm sure. So you would think this low has to hold. Because the alternative seems pretty unthinkable. But that's the chart I got. So this is what I got so far. All right. IAC, let's take a look. I only buy if in certain situations. I just don't buy because something sold off a lot. So it broke the bullish setup, like you mentioned. But like I said, it could be a real tricky situation here. No divergence. So it could be a lot of things. So now you've entered connector territory. Okay. So we're not going to worry about the count here as a 1, 2, or what. All we know is we have 5 down and we're in a connector. So the connector can play out. And typically what I've seen the market loves to do with these connectors is the flats. A, B, C. So I would be looking for this and then a whole nother leg lower. So that's what the market loves to do, these kind of connectors. Right? It loves that. It loves to do this. So if it's going to do that, you're like, where do I buy it? Where do I buy it to try to anticipate that? Well, you want to buy it at 37.40. So it's too early to buy it. You want to buy it here. But would I buy it here? No way, because it's a big gamble. Unless you're betting money that you wouldn't mind going to zero or losing a lot. Because if I'm wrong, then the connector's already done. The connector's already done here. And we're in this already. And then it's just going to do that. So we don't, it's just going to do that. So we don't know. So you could try to play the trap. And I've been starting to do that once in a while because it's big. It's happening too much in the market. I see it too much now. It used to, like, I think since 2000, it started in the 21 bear market, 22 bear market. It really saw this all over the indexes. These kind of setup, these kind of traps. Prior to that, you never really saw them that much. So it's a kind of a new feature of Aladdin or whoever, the market makers love to do this. Run the stops here and then pump it and trap people and then crash. They love to do that. We call that a flat. They call it just run the stops, then pump it, trap, so no one gets paid. So I think it's good to anticipate that and try to play against that, because I don't think they've given that strategy up. I haven't seen that strategy being abandoned. So if that's the case, then I'd be looking for a counter trend pump after they run these stops a little bit more, and then a rug pull. All right, next question, GB 20-year. So guys, with the rates, I've been pretty right on with the rates. I know everyone wanted to buy TLT and all that shit, and I told you guys not to do that. Here was my forecast on rates. Oh my God, we broke out of the triangle right here. I mean, once we break this high, I think you got the the move is up. The move will only accelerate higher. Now here it looks like you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, 2, and you've entered the wave 3 territory. So here's our target. No change. If you're I think if you're hoping that if you're in the bond market again, guys, and hope is like, don't hope. If you're hoping for something like this, if you're hoping that it's going to be like, okay, is this going to do that? I think your hopes are going to be, shattered, because I don't think that's going to happen. And I think traders are coming to the realization now that that isn't happening anymore. That maybe this is happening. For the first time, people are now thinking the unthinkable. To them, this was unthinkable. To us, we thought about that back here. We knew. I mean, we have already processed this in our mind. Our mind already knows these rates are going to be much higher. Why? I don't know. Who knows why? But that's the reason. That's the direction the trend wants to take it. So we have to prepare for that. So this is it. The break in this 5-2 will be a big warning sign that's where things are headed. And so short term, I mean, if I look, you've got a 1-2, and it should continue higher. It should continue higher as wave 3 plays out more. Now here you probably have like a 1-2, something like that coming. So you'll get another pullback soon, right? So that's probably more than likely, but it doesn't have to. Again, we could see it erase divergence and get a real panic. So anyway, we'll just leave it that way. NINE9. Nine is, if I look here, got a full round trail. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It really gapped up that high. What the hell? I wonder what news hit for that to help. I wonder what that's all about. Okay, so anyway, it looks like 5 waves. As crazy as it sounds, it looks like you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you pulled back in 5, and then you're in some mess here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So this was a big connector. Yeah, there's your W. So probably something like this. So now we need Y to play out. So this needs to take all that out. So it's got more downside for sure coming. And then at some point, if it still exists, you'll get another one of these kind of moves. So I do think it's going to be under pressure here in Y. And you see it's already, the connector is right here. The first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's about to get probably really ugly really fast. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, good luck with that. All right, next one, GOEV. GOEV, Canoe. This one pops up here and there on our chat here. Okay, so we're still waiting for this wave 4. Could that be it? Probably is. That's a pretty significant bounce. Even though it barely moved the price, that's probably that wave 4 there. And now we're in another 5th wave. We're keeping that bullish divergence alive. So we're getting close. But again, this 4 is in the right area for set for a pump. This only looks like 3 waves, so watch out we're not in that, we're not still in 4. So be careful of the trap like I just talked about. You get that. So just be careful. So that is possible. And you see that little green candle, the little bit turn upward, just, you know, again, lottery play. Just buy it. Play the market, you know, market makers want to do that. Run the stops, chase and trap, enjoy the ride with them, and then dump that shit. Dump it around, you know, 25. They may pump it up here. You know, that's what I think. So it seems like I look at this, it's like I bet that's what it's trying to do here, something like this. And you can try to anticipate that and play that. The other option is it's a 1-2, 1-2, and of course we'll just keep going lower. So it is a lottery play to try to play this. But I personally think that's what's going to happen because this was too weak compared to this wave 4, right? So this one could be has more to do. All right, I got another big super chat here from Anonymous. Indo, like I mentioned, I don't think Indo will be ready to move until oil's ready, and it should still be under pressure here. Ultimately, we need to hold above these levels, above 234. So I do believe it's under pressure until that happens, and it is running out of room. Now, we have seen Indo run when the indices fall, despite what energy does. So we need to wait and see. But we're in the final little push here. So maybe it's gonna run. Maybe it is. Maybe, you know, we just saw a bunch of small caps. Maybe they're gonna run small caps again, guys, and try to trap more people. And maybe this will just benefit from that as a small cap, and not really with an energy play. Like if we look at it here, you know, we kind of have it, like it wants to break out like quietly. But that's the daily. Now look at the weekly. Now you see the weekly? You see the weekly here? We're just about on the trend line right there. Moment of truth, right? Either we're going to bounce or we're going to fail. If we fail on this trend line, then you have to assume this is going to come and take these levels out. So unfortunately, we don't know, and this is why there's always risk in the market, and you should never bet your whole stack, and you should always manage it. But I would say that if I was trading it, I would say that you stay long until the final low breaks at $2, and then you just have to leave it. Even if, again, they want to play the game of some kind of like you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, they try to do some kind of A, B, C, and it's not the same setup anymore, you know, I see anymore. And but we'll have to wait and see where it ends up. All right, hold on one second. Okay, NVAX, I hadn't looked at that one recently. We were close to a breakout. And it looks like it's trying to get rejected, right? So again, our trend line may be off a little bit, right? So I mentioned that this is more than likely going to get rejected. So I would assume this is the count. I would still be looking for this, looking for the gap fill. BCHG today was an opportunity to potentially pick it up and buy it again. I still have it in this 1-2. So we did get the bounce here, but the bounce failed. So this is one thing to point out with my system where we get the bounce, but there's never a guarantee the bounce will go to new highs, but we do get a bounce, but the bounce failed. So we double correct it. And now we're really at the point where it has to hold this level. So if we go back to Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Cash is in a buy area here. So it actually, now we have Bitcoin Cash and BC, the Grayscale products in sync. So it may be ready to roll. Now, there is a possibility we are in a higher degree correction. I always, like I said, I always think of both, and that would be this is 3 and this is an A, B, C, where you have a WX and we Y back down to 200, 205 down here, where we're still in wave 1 and we're in wave 2, and then this was just an elaborate connector. The first sign that would happen, I think, would actually be BCHG breaking down these levels, like breaking below 566, breaking this trend line. And that would also tell me maybe Bitcoin is in a 5th wave of that bigger cycle and could see 44,000. So you have to, these are the things you have to think about as a trader. You can't just assume and be so punch drunk bullish all the time. You have to think of all the scenarios and then place your risk where you want it. But if this is the count, Bitcoin Cash should be bottoming right around here for a major low before it's a really big cycle higher. Another thing supporting that altcoins may be ready to pump, guys, is Coinbase hit a buy area today, and it hit the wave 4 low. Coinbase represents the altcoin sector typically. So if Coinbase is in a 1-2-1-2 setup, so if Coinbase is ready to pump, the altcoins may be ready to roll, guys. Bitcoin may be stuck for a while, but we may see the altcoins really bust out. That's what I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Now, of course, this could all be erased with more, you know, Bitcoin crashes, and then we're in a higher degree correction, right? Which is not what I'm saying here, but I'm just showing you what the charts are telling me. And there were some buys in crypto today, like with Bitcoin Cash and Coinbase and a few others. If you believe in the 1-2-1-2 setup, if you believe we're in a higher degree correction, well then you wouldn't want to buy, you would want to wait, but there's no guarantee. And again, that's going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does here. You know, is Bitcoin going to do this sideways, you know, type thing? Or is it just going to crash? Or is it in a 5 and it's coming down here? Like, we don't know, but this is what I think will happen. Something like that. Down to 84,000. That's what I'm thinking. LTCN. So LTCN, again, same story. We got the bounce like we wanted, but the bounce failed, so it double corrected, and it's in the buy area today. It was in another buy area. Again, right here. So now this one wasn't as good of a buy as the other one because Litecoin itself looks like needs more downside, which could put this product under pressure, although it doesn't have to trade together with the coin itself, as I've mentioned many times before. So Litecoin has a bottom at $82 with this break. So Litecoin is different, as a different pattern. So Litecoin could be under pressure. So you may not get too giddy on LTCN, and we may see LTCN do something like an A, B, C flat and come back down to 1099, which we never hit between the 4 and the 2. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get that. If we get something like this, it does this flat here, where you do something like this, and you come back down to this area here. And then maybe even I would want to buy it in this kind of setup. I'm looking at where Litecoin is. That's probably what I think is going to happen. Although it could bounce here, more than likely I think you're going to get this flat because of where Litecoin's trading right now. But again, it could bounce, and Litecoin could bounce, but I believe, again, Litecoin needs to hit $80. G-Sol's in buy area. Again, people panicking, but there's no reason to panic because it's still holding the pivot. And I did mention we should get that one last low to erase that divergence, and I think we got that here, essentially. So, do or die, right here. 8. There's your. So it needs to turn. It's ready to go. All right, HUT. HUT should be almost finished itself. Probably come back down to 21, and then you get the Y wave pump. So it's close. And then MIGI. MIGI looks like it still in a wave 2, although we broke the high here. Yeah, I think with this one I would just label this as a 1 and we're still in wave 2. And this is some kind of flat. A, B, so more downside likely. It's probably going to come back and revisit this area as it plays out this flat correction. Something like that. Right, it's still got, so more downside, but it has to hold this low at 63 cents. And then Riot, want to buy Riot here at 916, maybe a little bit lower, maybe even at 844. Great opportunity emerging here in Riot, and I'll give you a free one in Mara because everyone seems to be obsessed with Mara on the internet. Mara, $17.10. That's what I'm looking for, right around this area. Mara, here's your box, and again, it's a 1-2, 1-2. We want to buy 1-2, 1-2s, guys. 1-2, 1-2s are what you want, what we live for, what Elliott Wave technicians live for. And there you go. The miners are showing that. Now, of course, we break this low, then it's game over. Right? Crypto's got much bigger problems. But the setup is the setup. You play the setup. Hold on here. Okay. So anyway, that's where I think we're going with crypto. All right, next is ZETA. All right, so we're in this second wave, crash correction, but you only have 3 up, so it could easily keep going down. We only have 3 up, so and looks like we have 5 down. So I would expect more downside. I would want to see it come down here to like 1332. There's your gap. I bet it fills that gap. So ABC zigzag correction. That's probably what we're in. Something like that. Okay, SSBG. Tesla. Let's take a look at Tesla these days. So Tesla, I warned everyone of this major peak. We hit it. We're looking for 340 over a many month correction. So you know, we're out of the breakout area. I wouldn't be surprised if we close back below it, almost like a false breakout. So I think we'll have, looks like we're still in wave 3 down. 1, 2, 1, 2. Almost looks like, let's go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, maybe it's a 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's the first impulse down. So we're down in our first impulse. So where could it fail? Perhaps the short area is right here potentially at 450. And then, like I said, it's going to chop around here. But I think ultimately getting down to this area for wave 2. And then QUBT. Let's take a look here. Looks like we got our pump already here on this. We called this right. So that pump's over, yeah, so it's pretty much probably done. Could it go a little bit higher? It's always possible, but I bet it's over. And that B is in. So yeah, it's done. So if you're hoping for more dreams of it higher, I doubt it's going to ever come back to this area again. But will it counter trend? It sure will. Shorts will want to take profit and cover. Looks like we're getting close to that moment for the first wave down. And then it should have a big rally, like a big rally. And it's just going to keep grinding lower. Similar to what we saw over here. So basically, you just short it as long as you're below 27. Anything you just keep shorting it. But now if it can break above this peak, then it will extend. I don't think that's going to happen. Palantir was another one I believe we was warning about. We want to target $60. We called the peak here. Let's see where we're at. So we never got the fifth wave though. Let's take a look here. So let's see. Yeah, so we're in this 3. So could it be this? Let's see. See, you're still only correct in this leg. So it's more than likely you have another leg lower coming. Let's get a new target. Like 64. So looking for something like that. All right, next is DXYZ. Is in the sell area, and it's turning lower. So it's very dangerous to be long. Very dangerous. We called the sell here. So good luck. Could really lose a lot of money here potentially. All right. Move on to the next AMC and Bitcoin dominance. AMC hasn't had the success that Gamestop has had, and the setup. We failed at 3 waves up. We never got the 5th wave, and we broke the low. So we continue the correction. So we continue this correction out with a higher high. So we have to put an X here. So we're continuing the correction, and again, it's just going to see lower prices only because with this break, and with a Y you want to see 3 waves down. You have the first wave already finished, so you should have one more leg lower at some point, even if it pumps in B. I would be careful now, long positions until this plays out more, and we drop on the daily and 4 hour, and hopefully you stay above 241. It's a little different chart than GameStop for whatever reason. Usually they kind of are the same. All right, Bitcoin dominance, BTCD. I think I've looked at that before. Our target is 85% with a pullback in 2, which is what we got. So yeah, so I was saying Litecoin, the altcoins. This is too shallow. I bet you'll get another pull down. So yeah, I bet Bitcoin dominance will lose steam in the shorter cycles here, down like this, and then emerge again, then resurrect itself and continue much higher to this area. That's what I'm thinking. So I guess the real alt season is the next 4-year cycle, right? Because this is like what, 28, 27, 28. This was the alt season that got everyone like making millionaires. This is part 2. So there is another alt season coming, like we saw back in the 17 era, but I bet it's the next cycle. So what that means is, if you have the long game in mind, as the altcoins sell off, as this obviously it looks like Bitcoin dominance is going to rise at some point in the bear market as the bear market phase plays out. You're gonna wanna pick up some altcoins for this structure to play out when this plays out, because this was the super altcoin season, right? This was where altcoins went, that's what I think this chart is telling me, if it plays out the way we have it here. All right, Kerwin. So the government shutdown, I don't really correlate news to the market like a lot of fundamental traders do, because there's just too many variables and interconnections to kind of understand. But I'll just tell you, like, my take on the whole thing, like the shutdown to me represents, a couple things. I think it's a way to, put some deflation into the market, deflationary impulse. It's a way to, get Trump to coalesce his support behind him. So when he hits January, he already knows who's on his side and who isn't, who's his enemies, who isn't, before he even takes charge. The other is it sets the tone. And so therefore it creates volatility. So I think ultimately it creates volatility, somewhat deflationary, right? That's all I think about it. Other than that, it doesn't really matter much to me. And then, yeah, so the VIX I would bet will go up, and probably will be the 5th wave in the VIX. How does the gold and 10-year bonds play out in your minds? Well, gold for me has some more upside coming, and it's still we're still not sure if it's going to race divergence or not on the upside that I believe will be in front of us. There was a possibility for ended here. It does look like gold will dip down to this 24,880 area and get this 5th wave. So my guess is gold will continue higher, but gold will fail if rates go higher, because that would mean the dollar is strengthened, may mean the Federal Reserve is hiking interest rates, was like, why would gold go down in inflation? Well, if the Fed is hiking and rates are rising, that's actually bad for gold, and we saw that in the I think the bear market here, right? The bear market here, right? You saw gold was kind of like, didn't really do much, right? So I think what this tells me is when gold hits wave 5, may signify the Federal Reserve is now full-blown in a rate hiking campaign all over again, and they have to pivot because inflation is too hot, and then you get this pullback. And then again, it could be now this is the cycle that goes all the way back from 2015. It could come back down. So we don't know the higher cycles, but I do believe gold has one more high, and then a big sell-off, more than likely because rates are going higher. Because if rates go lower, it's typically good for gold, right? It's good, and the other thing is, if rates go lower, that's usually will be bullish for the market too. That's why people are like, well, rates should go lower because everyone's panicking the Fed cut rates. But look, the Fed cut rates on Thursday or Wednesday, whatever, and rates went up. So whether they cut rates or not is irrelevant in terms of the long end. So you got to understand, again, this is why traders are so confused, but we're not. Now, we don't, I can try to make sense in the news, but I just trade the chart. The chart says rates are going to go higher, gold will peak and go lower. So my thinking is the Fed will probably be in a rate hiking campaign when gold hits this level because something will scare them. And then they'll be hiking rates as the bond market is going higher. So yeah, bonds. I say rates are going higher. Bond prices are going lower. That's what I'm saying. Maybe the government shutdown is enough to panic people out of oil finally, right? Deflation, shut down the government. Like I don't know. Maybe that's what we're missing. BE. If you look, again, the higher cycles in play. We're close to ending the whole move from the beginning. More than likely, that's what's about to happen. My guess is this is where we are. So we're looking for 29. But you see there's only 3 here. So that's interesting. So let's change the chart. So this isn't right. So it's got to be something else. So we're probably in a flat here in this wave 2 of 1 2 1 2 setup and something like this. So again, looking for $30 in the flat. And IFN, India Fund. So hasn't seen its wave 3 moment. It looks like you've got the cycle here. This looks pretty bullish. I'll be conservative and just put the 3 here. But this could easily be another 1 2. That looks like so that looks like 5 down. That would be too big for 4, so we're going to call that another 1 2. So I'll give the buy setup. Let's take a look. Well, let's look one more time here. You see, now see, if you look here, what I don't like though is that weekly cycle break. You see that? But you only have 3 waves up. So even if it breaks, as long as we're above this low, I would still hold this as a 1-2, 1-2. So this is a chart that you really want to buy at 1428 if it can work out and everything can hold up right there for a big move in so India fund looks like it's where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. I think I've said that before about India, right? But that's what this chart is telling me. We'll keep an eye on that one. Okay, Owen, OIH, yeah, definitely one that I'm watching. I definitely want a piece of it, but I'd want to buy it at the right time. So we don't like to buy it because Schlumberger broke its pivot, which is a huge component of this. So it's still holding up, but I expect it to be broken. It may have already broke after hours. The reason I expected that is Schlumberger broke its pivot, opening up Schlumberger down to $24. So when Schlumberger hits 24, the OIH will be probably the right time to buy it. But OIH will be making another push lower down to 208 is the next target area. But let me just confirm that for you. Yeah, I would just 213, 190, 180, somewhere around there. For a massive move in wave 3. Guys, and again, big picture in mind. Cup, handle, big breakout reversal from a massive bear market that, really if you have 5 waves up here, right? 1, 2, and then eventually coming out. So this is a good buy, which Schlumberger means it would be like an epic long position in Schlumberger around here. Great long-term investment opportunities coming up in the energy sector. For those who missed this move, it's almost not fair, but you'll get another chance. Okay, gold, just kind of gave that update. I would just say that gold should continue higher, but it is got a deeper pullback that I believe is likely to happen, and that should reach 2,480 somewhere around this area, and that would be a really good area for traders to buy that for long positions right there. Okay, and then once this 5th wave is in, then there could be a real calamity in the precious metals market or the stock market in general. However, I do always say divergence can be erased, so we don't know how, but if this 5 plays out, we'll have a really nasty sell-off across world markets, more than likely, which either will be a deflationary crash, debt burst crash, or the Fed has its inflation with the Fed's just hiking rates crazy, with the dollar strengthening like crazy. One of the other scenarios will be the news driving the crash. I think 2008 and 9 was the deflationary, like the whole world comes to an end crash. That would take gold down. Or it could be it could come down and correct, not really crash, but correct pretty significantly, which is the interest rates have to go higher. Yeah, there's inflation, but rates over in the strong dollar negate any benefit of this being an inflation hedge, and it sells off. but not like it did in '08 and '09. So we don't know what what will happen, but I think it's the rates. I think rates are going higher, and we're not going to get the deflationary like spiral. That's what I don't see the deflationary spiral scenario. I see the interest rates out of control higher. The Fed having to go, oh my God, what did we do? We need to hike again. And I said they would say that. It was almost what they said on Wednesday, right? Oh my God, what did we? You know, we shouldn't. There's gonna be a lot of second guessing. They got too bullish, and then people are gonna say, well, you did it to try to help the Harris campaign get elected, and you're political. And then they're gonna start. You watch. They'll be blamed for what will happen. And with Trump in office, you know, God knows what they'll do to the Federal Reserve and Powell. But I'll just say, I think we're going to get the rates out of control interest rate situation, which is the inflation situation, which is why I keep saying that we need to understand like there's certain sectors that will benefit from that. But if it's a true deflationary burst, everything crashed, then only cash and shorts and puts will save you, and long volatility. That's it. So we don't know exactly the ingredients of what's coming, but I think it's again higher rates. I think that's what we're gonna get. MicroStrategy, got an eye on that. For those brave enough to dip by that, we're patiently waiting. We're not trying to chase MicroStrategy, and there's our buy right there at 242. We're waiting and waiting and waiting. And yeah, I may dabble in it. Now there's a couple things to keep in mind. This is a massive extended wave 5. This if we bounce here, I would say we're still extending 5. And this is just 1, 2. But you can't rule out the possibility the whole cycle is over. If the whole cycle is over, then it actually is going to come all the way back down to 113. So we got to be careful. You got to manage your risk, because you got to understand the bigger picture. It could be ending the whole thing, which would probably mean Bitcoin is in that fifth wave going to 44,000 or lower. This would be like Bitcoin's at 84,000 or something like that, or 80,000. This would be again another epic buy. Anyway, but this is the setup. I personally would need to look at the rest of the market to see if it's worth the risk or not when it's there. SILJ. You know, the thing about the metals and silver is silver's coming to a really critical area, and I'm not sure why I had a buy target there. It may be an old target that I must have had, but it's not really relevant anymore. So here we go. So we had this 1-2-1-2 setup in Silver Miner Juniors, but it's too big now. But we got a big problem because we only have 3 up, right? Only 3 up. So we have to zoom out and look at the whole thing. So is this just a corrective bounce? So we're going to come back and break 750. I don't think so. Let me see here. You are correct in the whole cycle, the weekly cycle. The monthly cycle's intact for now. This is why silver is really the warning sign. It's the tell that's give the clue that's telling you where the market may be heading. I think it's dangerous to be long this instrument right now, given the setup and the larger degree cycles that have broken down. The stop loss. I mean, personally, you know, I look at this. The only thing I could say is that this is a 5 up here. That's a flat, and we're still into this. So your stop loss would have to be at 777. That's where it'd have to be. But you want to stay close to this. probably something like that. So this would be a great opportunity with very low risk. If you know, if you could get it here at 8 with a stop at 7.7. So we'll go with that chart for now. DXY broke higher. So the DXY broke higher. So bigger picture. You know, we always had this our final target, this 122. I believe that's where we're heading now. I think it's pretty clear that's the path. It looks like we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2. It's almost like mirroring the bond market, right? 1, 2. And it's something like that. If this is right, then the next area where it could find sellers would be right around 113, possibly even 117. So the precious metals are going to get hit hard during this, if this plays out. Now there's always another possibility, right, where you get a pull. But now that you broke this high, it would be just it would be a fake out. But you could get something like this, and then higher. But it doesn't look that way. BitX, I think it obviously has finished its move. It hit 5. It just missed our target here that we set. This was our clue to get long crypto. We saw this. We got long BitX back here at $22. Multiple opportunities to buy it I gave on my channel. Here, here, and even here, which we almost got to. But now the opportunity is to sell it, right? It's over, which I know people refuse to believe. But this move is over. It does appear to be only in 3 waves. So now this is a big situation because it's only in 3 waves. You have an A, B, C. And so this pullback can consolidate for a while like that. And then we can get another run higher. Or it could make a 5th wave. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just don't quite know. But I would say since it's a leveraged instrument, chances are it's moving in 3. So chances are it's peaked. And we'll get a bigger sell-off before we get another move higher. Something like this. So I'll just go with that for now. But I don't like trading it anymore. Because the move is over for now. Serve. All right, we did get that breakout like we want it. It looks like it's corrective. I have to go with this label. So again, you want to see one more high, but if you don't get it, you only have 3 up. So you really need to stay above 1083, or then it's a corrective move and it will just completely erase everything and take this low out in a big W, X, Y. But for now, I would be looking for this 4th wave to finish soon and get a 5th wave, or you're lucky you can get a 1, 2, 1, 2. Looks like it has to bounce here. It's like do or die for it right here. WBA. I think I've kept people out of Walgreens, but let's see here. Is it time to get back in it? Yeah, it looks like it's finished. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, so you want to see a fifth wave, right? You need to see a fifth wave. But if you can get that, then you know the low's in. So it could be this and out. It could also be this and out. Or worst case, it's corrective and wave 5 continues. Like that. So I would say as long as you're above $8.797, it should continue higher. Something like that. Celsius. Celsius did a flat in this wave, in this flat. So as long as we're above 25, I'm still looking for this to play out. Now, if we break it, it's a pretty significant situation for Celsius because I believe it's broke its cycle with this bounce. You see? So this would be a connector for this whole decline. So then it's kind of like game over for the stock. I mean, it would be really a bad situation. That means there's got to be somebody that knows something that's really bad that's about to happen. But I think so. It's kind of like backing into the low. It really needs to hold this technically, or the chart really is broken, and I wouldn't like to trade it or be long anymore. No matter how popular the drink may be, there's something wrong underneath the hood of the company, and we just don't. You and I just aren't the insiders. We don't know, but the chart is telling us something's broken that we're not aware of yet. The public isn't. Mara is an easy one. Mara is just want to hold tight to 17, 1740, 1720. I'm just kind of going to wait there. That's this area is where you want to pick it up, right where I highlight here, right here. Okay, THP. T row price. Pretty much went vertical, never good sign. You have look at all that bearish divergence there right on that leg. So that's probably your wave 5 leg. One likely is coming back down to 32. Looks like to me some kind of 1-2, 1-2 pattern here. One, two, three, four, 5. Yeah, see, this is, let's look at the wave 3. Yeah, so we did take that peak out. So I will, there's a little bit of overlap there, but I'm not going to be too worried about it. I think that we're just going to have to go with this count, and then that's going to break the cycle. So this does not look good at all coming up. Looks like it's about to go into a big bear market with a major peak. Okay, good luck on that. Anonymous. I can't figure the timing out exactly. I could just tell you that Bitcoin may not go to 78.85. It may trade sideways in this correction. So perhaps, if I really want to think about this and really put my mind to it, I would just say that what could happen here with Bitcoin is it may not be a zigzag. We may get a sideways correction like that. That would pump the altcoins, I think. while this is happening, I think the altcoins would pump in this B as this is happening. That's what I'm thinking. So if the altcoins do want to pump and move like that, then more than likely Bitcoin will trade sideways like this, and you really won't get it much lower than where it kind of is now, 94,000 maybe, and then it's just going to trade like sideways. If it zigzags, I don't see the altcoins pumping with a C leg. Like, yeah, maybe they'll bounce and B, but then I don't see that happening until this bottoms. And then maybe coming out, maybe coming out of it, they may move faster coming out, but I can't, like, it's too much mental energy to try to like do that. You just trade the chart in front of you. Coinbase could bounce. That's the chart in front of me. I buy Coinbase. Why? God, I don't really care why. I don't know why. Maybe the altcoins pump. Maybe the guy is going to go on TV and pump it. Maybe Trump is going to say, I'm going to, buy all my Bitcoin through Coinbase that I want to buy for the government. God knows why. But I'm just saying, like, the charts tell you what to do. The news is there to confuse you. So, and then these correlations, I don't really like to think too much about them because there's too dynamic, too many variables, and they're not dependable. But if you're asking me, since you gave me $5, I'm asked. This is what I think we could see, and maybe we won't get the zigzag. So there you go. Okay. Got through all the questions. That's great. I'll just kind of read through the comments, and then we'll wrap it up and see if anyone's got it. AMD still looking for lower. The semiconductor sector is not good. Micron did what I was really worried about. It did not make that higher high to raise our target. So the Micron target I think we had is still intact, that low target. And now we saw the news that may generate us getting there. So the semiconductors are under pressure for a while. They're going to be under pressure, that sector. I appreciate everybody following me. TMDX, is that medical one? Is that medical one? Yeah, not yet. See that gap? Like I said, somewhere around here. We're getting there. Oh, we're so close. So close. Now, the wave 4 is here, and we have seen in the past the market loves to correct between the 4 and the 2. So we got to keep an open mind that it can go even lower. So, we don't want to get too excited, but look, I mean, trend line bounce, a third time, will work a third time. Why not? Let's try it. NKTX should be close to but here's the thing, it's tough to be long stocks with the market so bearish right now, and you'll have to really really understand the risk, because it's kind of like pissing into the wind, and so it may work, you may get a home run, but yeah, I mean this is hopefully any moment, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's drop. Hopefully someone will pump this thing soon. All right. Well, who knows? Uranium. The URA hit the buy area. The sector hit the buy area. Problem is bigger cycles, right? The bigger cycles are in play, and that doesn't look so good. So we have to respect the larger cycles, the higher degree cycles, and that's what concerns me about uranium. So use your stop losses and know when to fold them. Because yes, we may get a 4-hour daily bounce in the uranium, but that bounce could fail because the monthly cycle may rule and take over and turn it into a much bigger degree decline than where we were thinking about. So you need to like understand that. Yeah, it's bouncing, could bounce more, but watch that monthly bear, like that move the last 10 days or so did a lot of technical damage to the RSI, and we could be in a bigger degree correction than I was thinking about, which also would mean and imply silver and the metals are also in the same situation, which would be very bad for the market, guys. If silver. So I'll leave you with my silver message. Why is silver important? Who gives a shit about silver? Well, silver should bounce here. Again, I had this arrow drawn like I think about a month ago ish. Buy silver here. Massive trend line support. Here's the problem though, bigger picture guys, with silver. You've only got 3 waves up. A, B, C. You haven't broke this high with 5. You don't have 5, you only have 3. You have to think the unthinkable, because if you look at this looks like 5 down, right? 5 down, 3 up. So what if it's an A, a B, and are you serious? A C down here? I mean, the perma bears would love that, but I mean that if we keep going down and we break this low, we can't bounce with all this support, and we just keep going, you're gonna see the higher cycles take over, and we could have a calamity. And this could be the warning sign that tells us there's something much more dangerous happening in the market. But there's only 3 waves. This is 5 waves down. I never liked the way we bottomed, but you know what, we went with it anyway. Put the 2 there. Could the 2 be there? And this was just a massive bull trap. And then we have the global liquidation, deflation. Maybe it's not interest rates or anything like that. Maybe it is a financial crisis, deflationary collapse, and I'm wrong about that. That's what silver. This would be 2009 on steroids. This would be the grand super cycle going back. That's what so you gotta like see the bigger cycles. The other possibility too, maybe not as bad, is we're still in this wave too, and this is some kind of ABC. WABC, and we come back down to 16 in this here, which is less likely, but yeah, possible. But that's why it's so important for silver to really bounce here. It can't accelerate it lower. I think it would mean a lot. It would be a lot more dangerous. And in fact, silver's turn was so hard here is what made me stand up in my seat and pay more attention to the higher cycles, which is why I was able to put out what I did for you guys on the Dow. Silver gave me the warning sign because of how strong this turn was, and this was on that not CPI, but one of those other inflation indicators they watch was hot. So it really reacted quickly to the news before the rest of the market kind of processed it, before the Fed. So perhaps this will break it before anyone realizes it, and we could get short and try to play for some kind of collapse scenario that's emerging that silver's sniffing out. Also, if we bounce here, and we do bounce, the dollar should go down, and that should stop the sell-off across the market, or at least be put the brakes a little bit on it, even if it's going to continue on later. So anyway, that's where I like silver. That's why I'm keeping an eye on it. But if it continues lower, it's going to be it could be a bloodbath. All right, got one more super chat in here. Tilray. Tilray is in the cannabis sector. We just saw the cannabis sector could be ready to pump. And we for again, who knows why everyone needs weed in the bear market because they're unemployed and nothing to do and they're depressed. Who knows why? So the symbol itself is in is a dire straits, right? It broke these lows, but 1, 2, 3. So it could be doing this big flat game, I call it. Yeah, $1.05 would be the right area to do this. So we do something like this, like that, and like that. That's the play in Tilray. So looking for that. That's what I'd be looking for, something like that. You want to see it turn at like $1.05 right there. With a little bit more downside. It would be nice to get a little more capitulation there. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking with Tilray right now. Good luck with that. Yeah, silver is much weaker than gold right now. That's for sure. Oh, he did? He bought more Oxy? Hey, damn, why doesn't he just buy that company? Um, well, again, this is the shit he was doing. He sees he's always like 10 years ahead of us. I'm telling you, there's going to be a secular bull market in energy coming. So he's probably like, he doesn't give a shit because he knows, you know, he already knows like he's going to be printing money, but his time horizon is essentially forever. So he doesn't care the price right now. Um, but we do as traders, and it's still got more downside that's got to get worked out here, right? It's this and it's still got to get worked out, and we knew not to FOMO in all this shit here, so this got to get worked out. Probably going down to 31 or something. Um, Is there anything I don't know? Yeah, I mean, you always want people that can admit their weaknesses, right? Because anyone that says they know everything, you got to run away from. I mean, I don't know everything, right? I don't know. I'm not your guy for calls and puts and options. I do not ask me about that. I know a little bit, but not a lot. So that's something I don't know about. I don't know that very well. Um, and UUUs, I would just say uranium, again, you're going to have to decide like how much you want to risk. The higher degree cycles are in play. And yes, there's a bounce, a 4 hour, even a daily bounce is coming, but it could fail. And you look at, if you see the U's, I think, did we break that low here? We did, but it's okay. You see, so I have us as 5 up. We should have bounced here. We didn't. We kind of even have any buying interest whatsoever. So it could go lower. It's got to stay above 420 though. But again, if you look at the bigger cycles, we're doing a lot of technical damage. The weekly cycle is open down, but watch this monthly cycle. So the monthly cycle is very important here. That trend line, you can even draw it here. You break this monthly, this could come all the way back down to this area. And this was just a big connector wave, and like a WX, A, B, C. And then I have this. This is why I have this highlighted, just in case that happens. So then we're looking at like $2.50, $3, but more than likely come back down to the like this cluster of support. So that candle is so bad. Like that's why you're always in trading. You have to go with like as the data's coming in. You have to. So like I have it labeled this way, but I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks this low. I'm just telling you. And then that will open up a lot more downside. So again, you could, if you're like Warren Buffett and you just can hold it, then hold it, because I do think it will come out of this and be much higher in the future, but the path could be very painful given the strength and intensity of this breakdown. Yeah, I saw nat gas with the strength. I was tempted to buy Boyle, and then I'm reading the news. It's like major warm front in the northeast and all this warm weather, and I'm like, no, I'm not messing with Boyle if it got in the news warm weather, because then all the traders are going to be like, oh, natural gas, we don't need it. It's cold warm. So like, I was like, I'm not going to mess with natural gas because it does gyrate with the news, I've noticed, and I don't want to deal with that. But it does seem ready for a pump. It's like due, way overdue. But I don't like the setup. I just don't particularly care, especially with oil going down. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Good luck trading. We're in a I would say the market right now um, is about to make a decision on what degree correction we're in. Are we correcting COVID lows? Are we correcting the grand super cycle? Are we just correcting the August cycle? We'll know that, I think, very soon, and we'll have a good answer with that. And you got to watch the VIX, and you got to watch these things, but be careful out there, because the bear can come out of hibernation, take all your money.